We're here this evening with Robert Bussey, who teaches guitar in Charlotte, North Carolina, and who also has a profile on FindaGuitarTeacher.com. Good evening, Robert. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Thanks, James. Good evening.
It's great to be here with you. I'm really looking forward to learning more about what you do. Can you tell us first? I know you teach in Charlotte, North Carolina. Can you tell us more about where you teach? Do students come to you, or do you travel to them, or a combination of both?
Right now, students come to me. I am just now launching my home studio, and so that's what getting on FindaGuitarTeacher.com was all about. So I have a nice little setup here at my home, and I think I have a pretty good location that's convenient to the Charlotte, North Charlotte, and Huntersville, Cornelius area.
That's wonderful. And in your teaching, do you teach adults and children, or do you find you teach more adults? What is the age breakdown?
I teach both. I typically start them as young as 7. It could go younger if they have the attention span.
Yes.
And then I really enjoy adult students, those that have had it on their bucket list per se to
Yeah.
want to learn guitar or want to have a means to unwind in a busy career during a busy career, and I really I've had many adult students down through the years that have it's been like their weekly thing to routine to get that guitar lesson in.
Of course. And there in the Charlotte area, do you find there's a lot of interest in learning guitar? What is the guitar lesson climate there?
So far, it's been. Now I just wrapped up 6 years at Charlotte Academy of Music, and most of the students that I had there at the academy were younger child students, and but I did have some adult students. I even had father and son students. I had one young guy. He was actually about 6 years old when he started lessons with me, and he just really took off with it, and to the point where his dad was like, "Okay, I think I want to get in on this too." So both of them were very awesome students to work with.
That's great, and I think that's a very familiar story too, where someone playing guitar can often infect another family member with enthusiasm to learn himself or herself.
Right, right. Yeah,
Well,
have to that.
in the students who come to you, what styles of music do you find that they're most interested in learning?
Well, it varies. Usually my adult students will typically want to learn either metal or blues or classic rock.
Yes.
And that happens to be my specialty. So I find that to be a very good match for the types of lesson plans that I offer.
Excellent. And you mentioned your specialty. I wanted to ask you a little bit about something you mentioned on your Find a Guitar Teacher profile, which is a new program called The Stuff of Legends. Is that something that you're getting underway now? Can you describe that a little more?
Yes, the Stuff of Legends is basically I, I'm basing it off a guitar clinic I did about a year ago by the same name, and the clinic was about the different obstacles and even sacrifices that many of the legendary guitar players, famous guitar players that we look up to and admire, those things that they had to overcome to get to the point that they did. And so I give the example of Jeff Beck during his teenage years in post-World War II England. Guitars were very hard to come by. England was rebuilding, and there weren't many music stores around. Certainly not like what we have today with the guitar centers and things like that. So he wanted a guitar so bad, and he actually built one from scratch.
Wow.
and it somewhat resembled a Stratocaster, but the neck was too long. The frets were not aligned properly, so the guitar, the intonation was terrible on it. So he would bend the strings in tune as he
Wow.
played. And that played a part in how he has that very vocal-like style in his guitar playing. And that's basically catapulted him to a Grammy, multi-Grammy award-winning guitar player.
Right.
Then
Oh, that,
there's
oh, go ahead, please.
okay, yeah, I actually cite three different guitar players in my bio for the Stuff of Legends. The other one is B.B. King. I read an interview about when he was a child in Mississippi and had they didn't have a guitar, so they would basically put nails into the side of the house and string broom wire from one nail
Wow.
to the other. And you know, his statement about that was, well, when us kids wanted to play music, we found a way to play music.
That
And
it's inspiring.
very much so. And then the third guitar player I have to mention is Jason Becker. He was a prodigy shredder guitar player that late 80s, early 90s, and had landed that dream gig with the David Lee Roth band, and only to find out that limp in his leg was ALS. And he has since lost all ability to play the guitar. He can't move, but he's still
Wow.
alive.
Wow.
Even today, he's still alive, and actually composes music with his eyes that they have a system set up where he's able to communicate. He looks at the guitar hanging on the wall and then communicates with his eyes. That he and his dad have their own way of communicating, and his dad enters in the notes and things like that. And I mean, he comes up with beautiful arrangements, musical arrangements to this day.
Wow.
And when you see somebody like that and what they will, the lengths that they will go to make music, what is holding us back? You know, what obstacles are holding us back? And so that's a question, you know, that that I'm trying to address with the Stuff of Legends. I know we live in a day and time where we're all so busy and we have multiple things that we're juggling. How can we fit the guitar in? So, you know, determine what level you want to reach with guitar, and then how can we fit that in and stay on course with it, not give up. And so it's the Stuff of Legends is basically a mindset that we approach the lesson plan with.
And is the Stuff of Legends, is it going to be like a group class composed of various private students of yours, or is it anybody who can come to it? How will the class be shaped?
Okay, I'm going to have multiple facets to it. I am going to do I am planning group classes, and I'm also planning private lessons as well. So it's going to be a combination of all of those.
Got it.
I want to offer a variety of different lesson plans and means of students to have access to me. Someone who may not be able to budget in the private lesson rate might be able to budget in a group rate, and and that group class is going to be taught with the goal of getting the same types of results that one might get in a private lesson. It may be conducted differently, but by no means do I plan for the the group approach to be any less than what a private lesson may be. So it's basically just going to boil down to the preference and the budget that the students have to work with.
That's excellent, Robert. It sounds like a great project. And I wanted to ask you, because I see behind you on the wall real electric guitars and a painting or a picture of a Stratocaster. And the three examples you chose from the Stuff of Legends are all very well known for their electric guitar playing. Do you in your teaching also teach acoustic guitar?
I do teach acoustic, and even with my albums, I have 3 guitar albums under the Attic Symphony name, and even though those are predominantly electric albums, I have what I call the acoustic eye in the electric storm.
Of course.
There's always going to be, I try to make a point to put an acoustic track on there that showcases my acoustic side as well. And and I am a finger stylist acoustically as well, although I primarily translate that on electric guitar. But I can, and so usually when I record, I either have to program or basically use processing to simulate an acoustic sound. But I do have that in my arsenal as well. And I very much enjoy acoustic playing and acoustic fingerstyle. I've attended many clinics of these amazing finger stylists like Doyle Dykes and let's see, who are some of the others? It's been quite a while. So Ed Gerhard, he was another acoustic finger stylist that I attended a clinic by. Chris Proctor, guys like that. I'm able to take on students who are inspired by those guys.
That's wonderful, Robert. And a little bit about the logistics of the lessons. You've mentioned the various forms that the Stuff of Legends might take, but I'm wondering in your private lessons, how often do you meet with students, and how long are your lessons?
Okay, I offer pretty much the typical blocks of lessons that you typically have the half hour, 45-minute, or 1 hour time blocks. But I'm flexible. One thing I enjoy about running my own studio is I'm not bound by those time frames, like say teaching out of a music school or some other place that's a music store type environment. So there's no the main focus is more on the result, getting the student the result they want with the time that they want it. And even if a student might not be able to afford that half-hour rate, well, okay, or if it's a younger student that's maybe 6 or 7 that may not be able to sit still for a half hour, okay, well,
right.
let's talk about maybe a 20-minute, 15 or 20-minute lesson, and then rate it accordingly.
That's great. And sorry to cut in. I just wanted to ask you, in those the various lengths of lessons that you do, what are the basic fee rates that you charge?
Well, I guess I base it off these kind of a standard rate. The standard half-hour rate is usually around that $25 a half hour or $50 an hour. So that's kind of the starting point for my rates. So $25 for a half hour would mean $50 for an hour.
Got it.
And that sort of thing. And then and just adjust the rate to the time from that point.
I see. And another question I wanted to ask is that I do see the guitar behind you on the wall, and I was wondering if you had a guitar around that you could play a little bit and just show us a little bit of your own guitar style so that people could get a feel for your guitar playing.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, that's my 27 fret ESP hanging there. I do have my Fender Big Apple Strat handy
Wow.
right, and uh, yeah, I absolutely love this guitar. I've had two people offer to buy it from me right on the spot. It's one of those Strats, rare Strats that you find that everything about it is just right. And
It's very cool that it's in your hands, Robert.
thanks. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a keeper.
Well, I'd love to hear you play something on it. It might be something that you show a student, but also many teachers in these interviews are just playing, like, if you're sitting down with the guitar on your own and just want to unwind a bit, what might you play? And that would give people a good feel for what you enjoy.
Okay. What I'll play for you is I have I'll play an excerpt of a song off of my Attic Symphony 2 Cold, Vast, and Severe album.
Yeah.
And this is a song called A Hero's Tear. It's a tribute to our men and women in uniform. It's called A
I love
Hero's Tear.
A Hero's Tear. I'd love to hear some of it.
Okay, I'll play it. I have an actual backing track here that I'm going to play along with it.
Go right ahead.
I'll stop it right there. So there's a couple verses of it.
That's very cool, Robert. And that was called A Hero's Tear.
Yes, it's my project name is Attic Symphony. The song as well as the whole album is actually available on iTunes, Spotify, as well as CD Baby. Just put in Attic Symphony on CD Baby, and you'll be able to have access to it.
That's great, Robert. And I can hear in your playing, the using the Strat really allows your playing to come through, and also it just seems you can hear how nice the tone is on that guitar.
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah, this. Thank you. The Strat. I've heard it. I think it was probably Jeff Beck that said it. That the Strat has a very vocal-like quality to it. So
it does, doesn't it? a lot of that flexibility and that range that you would get in a voice.
Right. Just the radius of the neck, the curvature of the neck, you can really just kind of dig down up into those strings and draw some very expressive sounds out of it. So
There's certainly a lot of guitar players during the history of rock and roll who would agree with you on that one. Well, I wanted to ask you, that kind of leads me into my final question for the interview, which would be when students come to you, you're obviously very versed in different styles of guitar and the equipment. Do you offer guidance to your students about buying a new guitar when they're in the market to get one?
I do, and that is something that especially a lot of parents who know nothing about guitar, they can go into Guitar Center on a Saturday afternoon and it can just be totally overwhelming. They don't, so I find it almost vital to be available to make recommendations and even have, there's a music store not far from here in the next town over called Concord, North Carolina. And there's a music store there that I know the people there. I'm able to send students there even and know that they'll be well taken care of and that the people there are knowledgeable. They won't let the guitar leave the store until it's set up right and all of that. That same kind of personalized service that you can get in taking from a freelance private instructor like myself. They have that same approach at their music store. So kind of a mom and pop type thing. So.
Well, that's great, Robert. And Robert Bussey, I want to thank you so much for taking the time in your busy schedule to talk with us. So Robert Bussey, who taught at Charlotte Academy of Music for many years, but now you have branched off and you have started your own home studio and you are teaching privately. And you mentioned that you are getting going your program called The Stuff of Legends, which is both a private instruction program and also a group instruction program.
Yes. And I'm also going to be wanting to do some ensembles as well. When you mentioned acoustic,
Yes.
especially for beginning acoustic students, I want to be able to get them working together into some trios and ensembles with being able to, as they advance, be able to take on a very contemporary musical approach, learning some, if you've ever heard of the California Guitar Trio.
No, I haven't.
Okay. They're these three guys out in California that are doing acoustic trio versions of music by Queen, by Pink Floyd.
Wow.
All these classic bands. They're just taking this stuff and really pushing it into new frontiers. So I would really enjoy teaching some ensembles as well, some trios and duos and even some quartets. So I kind of have that in the works as well.
Well, that's great. Obviously, anyone in the Charlotte, North Carolina area who's looking for a guitar instructor should contact you. If they're looking for your home studio, should they look under Robert Bussey, or have you given the studio a separate name?
Yeah, they can look under Robert Bussey, or they can go to robertbusseymusic.com, my website.
Yes.
And there's a lesson page on there that will take them to the online registration form, and of course they're welcome to call me, and I'm also willing to offer a free trial lesson so that they can come and we can do an evaluation. I have a pre-registration questionnaire that I have students fill out.
Yeah.
And the lesson plan totally hinges on that questionnaire. information in that questionnaire will determine what type of lesson program we'll go with, or style, or what resources that we'll use. So.
Oh, very cool, Robert. Yeah, I want to wish you best of luck in your new venture. Obviously, you're someone with a lot of teaching experience and a lot of musical experience, and now you're branching off in all kinds of new directions. So I want to wish you best of luck with all of those things and with your continued recording projects with Attic Symphony.
Thank you so much, James. This has been a pleasure to talk with you tonight, and thank you for inviting me to do this interview.
It's been a pleasure for me too, Robert, and wish it could go on longer, but we'll wrap it up there. And so once again, best of luck to you in your teaching and in your music, and we look forward to seeing you very soon on Find a Guitar Teacher.
I look forward to it myself.
All right, have a good night, Robert. Take care.
Thanks, James. Good night.
Bye-bye.